We'll start here. So, hello, Maggie. Nice to be
Hello.
chatting to you.
Hello, lovely. I'm excited about this project. It sounds it's going to be really great.
So, I was going to just introduce it, say that how Alex and Esther, who run this place, the Tute, it's an old mining institute, and they taking it on and running it as an art centre. They saw me some years ago doing a solo theatre show and felt I was a bit of a kindred spirit, sort of somewhere theatrically, do something. And then they had this month where they were programming a whole lot of stuff called Rude Health, and it was all about kind of arts and health.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Chunk of funding, which is great. And I didn't have theatre shows that were going to be happening. I'm working on other things, but they weren't going to be available. So I said, why don't I get my new hero up? My new hero being Maggie Nicols, and we could do improvisation. And it's funny, improvisation has always felt this kind of slightly like an elite club that you can you have to.
It's a weird contradiction because on the one hand, people say, "Oh, it's some elite thing." On the other hand, it's just, "Oh, anybody can do it." It's just a load of noise. So you're caught between these two, extremes. It's like I've been seeing some things on Facebook about Schrodinger's, immigrant. They're going to steal your jobs. No, they're going to take all the welfare. And it's a bit like that. It's an elite thing. No, anybody can do it. It's like two opposites at the same time, and it's either neither of those. And yes, anybody can do it. That's what makes it beautiful. But you do it in different ways, and it's so natural. It's crazy that it's been presented as some elite thing. I think it's to put people off so they don't experience the liberation of it, because then nobody would want to do the shit jobs. Anyway.
So basically, in order to try and promote this, we decided we would record a student together. So I put three questions to you, and the first one is about, I think Alex and Esther were sort of following their intuition by approaching me about I feel that there was kind of intuition about me kind of being drawn to the stuff you were talking about in the interview about your and I was thinking, is intuition, is it a skill or a muscle that you feel that you develop with improvisation? It's a lot
I think it's something that we're born with, but we sort of lose it because we start doubting ourselves. Because, for example, you go into a primary school and, and you see a load of drawings and every single one is fantastic. What happens? Somewhere along the line, people have to be divided into those that can and those that can't. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, that's the wrong color for this, and that's not right, and that, and so people start doubting their creative ability, their intuitive, natural way of being creative in whatever, whether it's music, art, whatever it is. We're all creative. We're born creative, and I think intuition is an essential part of that. So it's almost like we have to reclaim something that's natural. And yeah, I do feel like you say, improvisation develops that capacity that is innate, but that we're actually it's stolen from us because we're told, we're told, because we have to obey. And how do you obey? If your intuition has to be crushed in some way so that you will be compliant. I'm being real.
No, it's good. It's great.
But I think it robs you of your ability to be autonomous within a collective. And then, because it's not just your own individual intuition, but it's a group mind and a group being that sort of develops improvisation, where everybody's tuning into something that is quite magnificent, where we co-create. It's not, here's one I made earlier. We're in the moment, we're navigating the unknown, but with sort of ancient kind of tools.
Oh,
God.
It's great. It seems and it's about trusting your own decisions, isn't it? And trusting.
Absolutely.
It means that you can trust other people in the group, obviously. As soon as you start yourself, you're kind of like separating yourself out from things, it feels like.
That's right, because you do, I think, when you're in that sort of, this woman, an author, Serena Roney Dougal, said something like that the rational mind, she was a parapsychologist, scientist, but she into sort of the wonders of the world and the universe. And she says that research has shown that the conscious mind can hold 7 things once, the rational mind. And the subliminal mind, of course, it's an infinite library. And I think that's what we're accessing when we're improvising. We have this incredible ability to navigate quite complex things, often through simple ways in. We get into a genuine complexity rather than a contrived, fabricated, or aren't you clever sort of complexity, which in fact, when you strip away, has no substance.
So that kind of leads on to the second question, which is, can you give people an idea? I'm trying to encourage people to come along. I mean, it's amazing. These events are all free. You know, the three nights. Which sometimes that's weird. It's people have more respect for something if they have to pay. But,
I know.
What kind of things can you sort of give a kind of flavour of what you might be getting people to do on a Thursday evening at the Practices Freedom Workshop?
I suppose the overall thing is sort of pieces and exercise that will reassure nervousness but challenge complacency, because that's the contradiction I work with. Things that are really simple but profound, things that anybody can do but nobody can do.
Right.
You know, things like, you know, just like something a bit like meditation, you know, where you're just focusing on the breath. How easy is that? Whoa. Yeah. The mind is going. So it's obviously things, very simple ways of actually creating sound with other people, but in ways that are quite magical, but very, very, very user friendly, but not insulting. See, it's that thing. I was served an apprenticeship with the drummer John Stevens, who was a master of mixed ability, and who got, you know, found ways of creating excellence with a varied ability group. So somebody could have been playing for 60 years. Somebody might have just walked into a music shop and bought an instrument, but his pieces created magic and excellence, whatever level of experience people had. So I'm very much interested in that. And and to have fun as well. We can have a laugh, but quite deep. And also I'm very interested in this thing about in our different rhythms together. So, for example, some of the pieces we do, somebody might go deep into a trance and somebody else might want to burst into hysterical laughter. And that's okay. Yeah. That it's okay to laugh. And it's okay not to laugh if you're immersed in a different way. And that can be anybody. And you can move from one state to the other. So, great. You know, I yeah.
No, it sounds brilliant.
I don't want to say in detail what the exercises are, because I could, but it's more just a general flavour. Yeah. The things that will actually, and also things that build up group solidarity, rather than that feeling of comparing yourself with others. Oh my God, that person is so funny, I'll never be that funny. Or look how skilled they are, I'll never be that skilled. Just that each person brings something unique and precious to the experience.
Absolutely.
And that to me is really important.
Yeah, no, great. I mean, it's, and again, just to kind of make reference to the Saturday night thing, the musical boxing, which, as I say, was kind of.
Why? That's your thing, which is sounding. Well, you got inspired by, was it
Billy
Jenkins. Inspired by Billy, of course, Billy Jenkins. That's I knew it was. Yeah.
Did a workshop with him, and he kind of got us doing that. And but I've done it with people who just wouldn't dream of doing that kind of thing, really. But they were kind of they trusted me enough within the kind of songwriting sessions that I was doing to kind of just get up and do it. And it's so wonderful, the stuff that happens, you know, and it is very funny and deeply serious. It's that wonderful sort of kind of
exactly. I love that. I love the fact that it can be so funny. Yeah. And again, improvisation, you know, I remember, you know, you always this myth that somehow it's very serious and you have to understand it, rather than respond sensually to it, which one minute you might be laughing your head off and the next minute you might be deeply moved. And sometimes at the same time, I saw a performance with Han Bennick, the Dutch drummer, and Michael Moore, European-American flute player. And Michael was playing sublime, very lyrically, very gently, and Han was clowning. He was clowning, and I was in the audience laughing and going, oh, Michael. And the beautiful thing is they both held that. Michael did not think, oh God, everybody's laughing, I'd better play for laughs. And Han didn't think, oh my God, I'm disrupting my, you know, and it worked so beautifully. So that, you know, I love that, those contrasts.
Great. Oh, well, the last question, it was just that it's part of this season called Rude Health. They've got different things going on, but could you say anything about things that you've witnessed where improvisation has been of value, mental and physical health? I mean...
Oh, Jesus Christ, yes. I mean, starting with my own mental health, you know, because when I came across John Stevens, I was not in a good place. I had suffered, acute anxiety, self-harm, all sorts of stuff. And that, you know, just being introduced to ways of getting into altered states safely for a start, experiencing things that would normally get you locked up if you're not careful, but in a way that was very gentle and very kind of, you know, you could pick your own level of immersion. So, you know, you can be on the edges of it or you can go deeper. And also this thing, the big buzzword, because I'm very deeply involved in, I'm part of a mental health forum, service users and carers. And one of the things, the big buzzword in mental health in the moment is co-production. And it came from the grassroots, but as lots of things, professionals can sort of co-opt it. But basically, if you really take it at its radical roots, improvisation, we are co-creating. It is co-production. You can't believe, you know, everybody, every voice is valued. Every single person present is actually unique and beautiful, whatever their lived experience, you know. And so, yeah, and just doing something. Oh, and some of the pieces, like, for example, I might probably use John's sustain piece, which is very simple because you just pick your own note. And as John said to me when first time I did it, and I was terrified, he said, it doesn't matter, he said, if your voice wobbles, wavers, or croaks. And I was like, I was terrified and I couldn't hold a note. But the repetition of it, and Trevor, of course, Trevor Watts, alto saxophone, you know, played this steady note on the alto, and I started listening because once I got over my nerves, I started repeating my note. John was playing a gong, and what happened is that I became so captivated by what I was hearing that I forgot my own inadequacies or my feelings of inadequacy, and something happened, and the next thing I know, we were improvising, and the sublime sense of peace and healing and liberation and exhilaration I felt after that. So it was like a form, it was very soothing. So that's, to me, is healing. You know, all these things make you think, wow, and the connection to other people, because other people can be a nightmare. So how do we co-create conditions where we bring out the best in each other? So we are actually, it's a joy to be with other people rather than like people like me who's on the spectrum thinking, oh my God, I can't be around people, I can't cope with people. You know, finding ways to be with people that are different from the usual neurotypical kind of prescribed ways that you've got to be normal, you've got to fit in a particular way. So yes, our music is liberating and healing, and it's brilliant for mental health.
Fantastic. I can't wait. All right. All right, let's end that there.